Okay. Sorry, it was pretty noisy in my house, so I was silent for the first 7 minutes. So, yeah, thought that I wanted to start a little podcast and see where it goes. So, basically, um, basically going to be talking about lots of football. I know the draft is coming up. I want to say end of April sometime. And yeah, just want to check out football while playing Madden, seems like. So yeah, just pick the Vikings. I don't have this year's Madden, but there's many draft classes to get us caught up that are honestly better than the Madden ratings that the actual people who create the game give the players. So, Cook is definitely a must-have on the team. So I'm a Vikings fan, and the Vikings have the 14th overall pick. No second rounder, because we gave up. We acquired Yannick the freaking Ngakoue for a second overall pick that we gave to the Jaguars, and then we ended up trading him. We ended up trading him to the Baltimore Ravens, and we didn't get a second round pick back, which kind of sucks, because looking back at it, the Jags have, the 33rd pick for the second round, which would be nice to have, because it's basically 2 first rounders, but now we have a late, Pat Elflein's a star. We have a late, 3rd rounder, which, we still have a lot of picks. I think definitely last draft. Last draft we had like the most picks out of every team, and I think it's the same this year for the Vikings. Definitely this year for the Vikings. I think we have like two threes, maybe 3 threes, 4 or 3 fours, and like 2 fives. Then we still have Sean Mannion. What a joke. We still have 14th overall pick, which I think the Vikings could do. They could look to either move back, stick and pick, obviously, or if, honestly, how's Danielle Hunter out? Alright, for quarterback wise, obviously, you're taking Trevor Lawrence. Jaguars are first overall pick. I do think Zach Wilson from BYU. He's got a nice arm. Patrick Mahomes like. If I had to compare it to anything, I think he's definitely going to the Jets. I don't think you can pass it up, even though Sam Darnold still like 23, 3-year from USC, and yes, Adam Gase most likely. Actually, I'm not even gonna say that. He does not help with developing like anyone. He was like one of the worst coaches, probably of all time. But I don't think Sam Darnold can even if he develops, bring the upside to a player like Zach Wilson. So then, 3rd overall pick is where it gets interesting. I personally think Justin Fields is not going to get drafted. I repeat, not going to get drafted. Number 3 overall. For one of my reasons is that the 49ers ended up. I don't want any of these. I'm going to let Harris walk. He's old. No, don't want any of these people. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, third overall pick. Here, one sec. Sorry, it's just really loud in my house. Whoops. Download file. I don't think Justin Fields is going to go number 3 because when the 49ers traded up with the Dolphins to get that pick, Ohio State has not had their pro day yet, while Trey Lance and Mac Jones both did have their pro days, which I think that says a lot. But obviously, for Kyle Shanahan, he is an offensive mastermind. I really do think what's his name? Trey Lance is the better pick for their team, but you also have to look at Kyle Shanahan, offensive coordinator for the Falcons and the Redskins a couple of years ago. He has worked and made and developed good quarterbacks such as Kirk Cousins. Yeah, I know, Kirk Cousins, but and Matt Ryan. He was the offensive coordinator for Matt Ryan when Matt Ryan had his Super Bowl not Super Bowl. Well, he was in the Super Bowl in his MVP like season. So he is clear as day, probably the best, I want to say, offensive coach. I do like Sean McVay. It's hard to say though after last season or in the previous season without Todd Gurley and Jared Goff just essentially just not developing at all. Wow, they are really down on Justin Jefferson in this draft. By the way, Justin Jefferson, call me a god, like a fanboy, but because he's on the Vikings, but I really do believe he's got to be top 8 receiver in the league, and that's kind of just, I don't even know. I really do think he is a top 3 route runner with Devontae Adams and Diggs, who, what do you know, was on the Vikings. Mid first rounder. But yeah, I do think the 49ers and Kyle Shanahan will draft a QB. You don't trade that much value to get up to take like Kyle Pitts, even though on my list I have Kyle Pitts as the number 2 prospect behind Trevor Lawrence because he is just. How is Garrett Bradbury 24 and a rookie? I mean, Vikings, I tell you. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, Kyle Pitts. I really do think he or Trevor Lawrence could be the best player to come out of this draft easily. Pitts is like what, 6'5", 6'6". He is recorded as the longest wingspan out of like any receiver, tight end for the past 20 years. He is essentially a Calvin Johnson. And I want to say Calvin Johnson ran in the 4.3s, but Kyle Pitts is right there, mid 4.4s, literally running like the same exact speed as like Odell Beckham ran when he came out of LSU. I really do think if Kyle Pitts, to be honest, if he falls to even 9 or 10, I think the Vikings should definitely they got to think about it. They got to think about trading up because even though you have Tyler Conklin still on his rookie deal and Irv Smith, who I think the next couple of years could easily be a top 10, maybe top 8 tight end in the league coming out of Alabama. Mackenzie Alexander, a star. Okay, well I might have to resign him then. But if you get Kyle Pitts, um, he can play receiver. You got Justin Jefferson, who I think is going to be wide receiver 1 for the Vikes this upcoming year. Thielen, I want to say Thielen should be in the slot a lot more this year, you could see. And if you got Kyle Pitts, then literally just stretch out the defense and then get rid of Kirk Cousins' contract. I think we're obviously not going to get rid of him, but I think you definitely got to consider it. Kyle Pitts gets there. Even if Justin Fields, I think there's a better chance than not that Fields falls out of the top 4 than staying in it. I really think there's a better chance of that happening and he gets to like 8. But if he gets past 10, I think without a doubt and without question, you gotta move up and get the quarterback of the future. Even though, like Dan Orlovsky, for example, says that, he's heard reports that he's always the last one in and the first one out is his work ethic maybe isn't there, or that other reports saying that, especially with Ohio State quarterbacks in general, is that, especially with Dwayne Haskins, I'm not saying Justin Fields is Dwayne Haskins because he's not, but Ohio State quarterbacks in general tend to have a hard time going through their reads and progressions throughout the plays. As you can see, I honestly can't remember the last time there was a good Ohio State quarterback, so that definitely plays a factor. Is Kyle Pitts in this draft? They're really down. Well, I guess this was created a while ago, but is Kyle Pitts even in here? I don't think so. Cole Kmet, he's terrible. Bears stink. What was I talking about? But Ohio State quarterbacks in general, just obviously you gotta. If he won't fall out of the top 10, I don't see that as a possibility. He's too good of a prospect because for a long time it was top 2 prospects come out of the draft, into the draft since high school even, were Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields, just 1 and 2. But yeah, I think he has a lot of. I think he has top 2 quarterback upside, but I also think that some of these red flags that people like Dan Orlovsky has heard from GMs per se, I really do think that he could, like Trey Lance, Mac Jones, could have a higher ceiling if some of these do come out to be true. So my thoughts on that. Tristan Wirfs, guys. He's a beast. Is he playing at? I think he's playing at right tackle, but maybe he's playing at left. Vikings really do need a left tackle per se. Um, Mackenzie Alexander. Wow. 9,000. If he gets up to like 82, I think I could definitely re-sign him if he's not asking for too much. Because he's definitely going to be my nickel and dime package corner. I definitely think so. I wish I had the recent Madden. I could get it right now, but I don't know if it was too late. But fourth pick, who was the fourth pick? Falcons. Falcons are in a tough situation. Not tough situation. They are in a tough situation because there's a lot of good players to board. It's a good problem to have because you got Penny Sewell or Sewells from Oregon, who I honestly believe is the number one offensive lineman come out of the draft, the highest stealing by far. It's not even close. I think he's next to Anthony Munoz as a prospect coming out. He is just lights out. 6'5", 6'6", 340, moves, bull rushes, people to the ground, pancake. You could go Penny Sewell. You could honestly take a quarterback because there's going to be a quarterback there. Even if the first three picks are going to be quarterback. So I think Fields will be there, or maybe Mac Jones or Trey Lance, depending on what the 49ers do. So you could take Kyle Pitts even. What does he want? I could give him a 5-year. That's cheaper on the cap hit substantially. Let's do this. Perfect. Sendejo, you're gonna leave the team. Dan Bailey, he's terrible. I think we dropped him. But Falcons could take Kyle Pitts even. Talked about him. Then it's the Bengals. Bengals need offensive line, so I think even if a Kyle Pitts is still there, and let's say Penny Sewell's drafted, I still think they take next up, which I think, in my opinion, is Rashawn Slater. Could play either tackle or the interior guard position. I think he's just an all-around great prospect, and I could see the Bengals trading back a couple of spots definitely, especially if Sewell goes to the Falcons. I think the Falcons pick is the most unpredictable pick right now, I want to say, because either they go in, not to full rebuild, but go into their new quarterback of the future, or they stick it out with Matt Ryan, which is a uh, tough situation because Matt Ryan, you can't really cut him because you got dead cap. Laquan Treadwell, does he actually like break out? Oh my God, there's no way that would happen in real life. So you could, or they could take Penny Sewell, but they're in a good spot because you have so many good players on the board. Saquon Barkley, slow him down. But then who has the sixth pick? Is it the Eagles? Oh no, I think it's the Dolphins. Here, one sec, guys. I'll be back in like 5 minutes. People are listening to the podcast. It's really loud in my house right now, and I'm gonna go get something really quick. Okay. Um, where were we? Um, next pick would be after the Bengals is the Dolphins. So, um, the Dolphins traded back from number 3 to 12, first with the 49ers, but then they traded up from number 12 to 6 to get the Philadelphia Eagles pick. So now the Eagles are picking at 12. And then, so the Dolphins got two first round picks, future first round picks. And I have them taking Jamar Chase, so they move down 3 spots. They get picks for the future, and they still get the receiver they wanted in Chase. I think it's hard to say with Waddle and Smith and Chase who the true number one is. Some people have Waddle with this speed. Some people have Chase, who I think could be the best all-around receiver. But then you got people who have Devontae Smith as their number one receiver on their draft board, as his route running, in my opinion, is the best in the class. Um, but I think what really sealed Jamar Chase, the number one receiver, was his 40. And to be honest, I thought he was going to run late 4.4s, maybe 4.5. He doesn't seem too fast. I think of him as a little bit faster, well, a lot faster now, Anquan Bolden, as he ran I think a 4.38 or high 4.340 time. So with this pick, I think Tua, um, he has a lot of weapons to throw to now, as he still has Devontae Parker, who obviously didn't pan out to being a number one receiver in the league, but they signed Will Fuller in the offseason. Now they have Jamar Chase. They still have Mike Gesicki, the tight end, who made some really good one-handed catches this season. I really think sixth pick, Dolphins getting their receiver, the wide receiver one of the future, really makes sense here. Now in the division of the Vikings, my favorite team, NFC North, the Lions with the 7th pick. They need a top receiver, and I have them taking Devontae Smith. I would have had them taking Waddle if it wasn't for his ankle injury. I'm just not too sure if that'll be an issue in the future. And I know Waddle is obviously faster than Devontae Smith, but I don't know if Devontae Smith has ran a 40 yet, but he seems like he would run in the honestly high 4.3s and the low 4.4s. I really do think he is the number one uh, route runner in this year's draft, as most of the receivers, when it comes to route running, have really good rookie season, end up turning out really well. Hence, Minnesota Vikings wide receiver from last year, Justin Jefferson. I really do think he is a lock top 5 route runner, and I'd put him at number 3 in the league route running wise. Creating separation in the NFL is key, and if you can do that consistently, you've seen it with the Vikings offense. They had a I want to say top 6, top 5 offense this year. When Justin Jefferson came in, they really opened it up in the air. I think drafting Devontae Smith, especially with their running back of the future, I think, in DeAndre Swift. I think it's DeAndre Swift. Yeah, Swift. He seems like a really promising back as he got more carries late in the season when Adrian Peterson didn't get as much. But I think drafting a receiver here, Devontae Smith, really helps out Jared Goff, even if Jared Goff isn't their quarterback of the future. Um, let's talk about Dan Gable. Dan Gable, their new head coach. I really do think he is a culture builder, and although he may not be an offensive or defensive guru, I really do think he is a really good coach to have to build culture up there, as he said in his press conference, like chewing on kneecaps or something like that. So I really think he brings a lot of good energy up to uh, up to Detroit. Um, so I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get something to eat really quick. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna be on and off eating, so I'll be muting my mic during the podcast. Um, but with the eighth pick, um, the Panthers are on the clock, and I do have them taking a quarterback. So if this were my mock draft, I would have Trevor Lawrence 1, Zach Wilson 2, Justin Fields, or not Justin Fields, Trey Lance 3, and then I'd put Kyle Pitts 4, Penny Sewell 5, Jamar Chase 6 to the Dolphins, and 7, Devontae Smith to the Lions. I would have Justin Fields going um, Justin Fields going to the Panthers. I think he slides a little bit, but I think this is where he would end up. Um, so for Justin Fields, going number 8, to the Panthers. I really do think this is a good fit. The Panthers do have Teddy Bridgewater, I think on a 1 or 2 year deal. I think Teddy Bridgewater, as he's been his whole career, essentially with the Vikings, Saints, and now the Panthers, he's that bridge quarterback, almost like a younger Ryan Fitzpatrick, where he could be the starter or it could be a really good backup. Um, I think Justin Fields in a Joe Brady offense could be downright scary. Um, Even if he has some leadership or question marks reading defenses in his game. But I think eighth overall pick, it's too hard to pass up Justin Fields as he ran I want to say a 4.44 or the mid 4.4s, which for a quarterback is obviously really good. You see these dual threat quarterbacks coming out more often. The latest being Lamar Jackson and the Kyler Murray, as they really open up the field for what you can do. And I really do think getting Christian McCaffrey back um, would really, obviously, would really help their offense and their defense coming back. They have a lot of good young pieces. Derek Brown, I think. Their safety, Jeremy Chin. They have a lot of really good pieces as they drafted. The Panthers drafted in the 2020 draft all defensive. I'm pretty sure. I don't think they drafted a single offensive piece. But I think Justin Fields would really be their quarterback of the future for the Panthers at number 8. Okay, so for the number 9 pick, Denver Broncos um, have the number 9 pick. I either see them taking a defensive player, maybe corner, even though they just signed Fuller in the offseason. I see them either taking a corner, a quarterback, or Micah Parsons. So, an argument for taking quarterback is obviously Drew Lock. Hasn't had the greatest start to his NFL career, uh, but also uh, a lot of people were hurt last year. Um, Hence, Cortland Sutton, their number 1 receiver, was out with an ACL, I'm pretty sure, for the whole season. So getting him back really, I think, giving Drew Lock one more year to, like, a prove-it year, to see if they go forward with him or not would really be good. Jerry Jeudy's going to be better. Sutton's back. KJ Hamler, their speedster, I think gets better, and I think he plays out of the slot more. Um, they obviously have Noah Fant, who I could see easily being a top 10 tight end at the moment, maybe top 8. Pretty sure he's from Iowa. Uh, but if they don't uh, believe in Drew Lock, I really do think they take Mac Jones here. I think Mac Jones, out of all the quarterbacks besides besides Trevor Lawrence, is a ready-to-go day one starter in the NFL. I don't think he has the highest ceiling, but I think what they do teach in Alabama and what we've seen last season with a historic year, almost winning the Heisman, I do think that he is a day one starter for the Broncos, and I think Mac Jones would be a good fit. All the weapons, and I think they could definitely move on from Drew Lock. If they're going to take a corner here, I think they don't take Farley anymore. There's back concerns. I don't see Farley slipping out of the top 20, though. I think Patrick Surtain, Alabama, honestly, number one corner now. It's always a good choice. Or Michael Parsons ran a 4.38, just all around freak athlete. Even if he has some off the field issues, I think taking Michael Parsons or Mac Jones or Patrick Surtain, I really don't think you can go wrong. Or you could trade back. So for the Cowboys, I do have them taking either Micah Parsons or Patrick Surtain, as the options with the Broncos are similar. They need corner help and defensive help. I really think if Patrick Surtain's there, it's an easy decision for the Cowboys to take the best corner on the board, in my opinion, especially after having an very embarrassing secondary last year. Even they drafted Trevon Diggs, Stephon Diggs' brother, who I think can turn out to be a really good corner years down the line. They need a corner. Dan Quinn, their defensive coordinator, decides primarily to be in cover 3 a lot, and I think having a lockdown corner in Surtain really helps the Cowboys, and I think they'll be really pleased if they draft Surtain in this position. So that's it for podcast number 1. We kind of went through pick 1, talked about football a little bit, pick 1 through 10. Next podcast, I'll go 11 through 20, and then after that we'll finish the first round, and then we'll, as you know, as more podcasts come out, we'll talk about the later rounds. I am going to be live streaming these. If you guys want to come in and ask a couple questions or just hang out, that'd be cool. But yeah, I really wasn't playing Madden the last couple of things, but it's more of a listen podcast, I guess you could say. But yeah, see you on the next podcast, number 2, picks 11 through 20 in the first round.